Hey there, Banger fans! It's your host, Sam Astroth, back with my first review of 2022. What have I been up to? Well, I've been working on launching my genre-fluid solo music, writing original solo material with my producer, planning out a few sick collaboration tracks, and I'm starting the year off with a cover of Ghostmane's Fed Up. Because let's face it, guys, with all the COVID bullshit that's been happening in the last 2 fucking years, we are all a little. This week, we are covering avant-garde band, mixing sounds of African American spirituals and gospels with the nastiness of black metal. This is Zeal and Ardor. That was the blistering lead single titled Run of Zeal and Ardor's third full-length self-titled album out today, February 11th, via MVKA Records. Zeal and Ardor originally started back in 2013 in New York as a solo project by leading man Manuel. After signing a record deal with MVKA Records in 2016, the project eventually grew to become a full band with Manuel on vocals and guitar, backing vocalists Dennis Wagner and Mark Obrist, guitarist Tiziano Volante, bassist Mia Rafaela Deu, and drummer Marco Von Ullman. The band, since its inception, has been receiving steady praise from the metal community and so far has released 2 fantastic full-length albums, with the first one being critically acclaimed Devil is Fine in 2016 and the stellar follow-up album Stranger Fruit in 2018. Their second album was praised by some as one of the most unique, daring, and wholly affecting albums of that year. The band mixes gospel and soul-like sounds with African American folk music, with intense black metal vocals, sinister riffing, and avant-garde style songwriting. Fast forward to 2022, after just finishing a tour with none other than Opeth and Mastodon, Zeal and Ardor are here to deliver us their third full-length album. So how does this album weigh in compared to their earlier releases? Let's find out. Where do I start? This album is filled with gems. The dark and gritty single you heard earlier titled Run is just a start to this madness of an album. Following up to the previous is Death to the Holy, a song that shifts seamlessly between the soulful singing of Manuel and then straight up Gojira-like crushing heaviness with the guitars and drums just pummeling at you, with the memorable chorus chanting Death to the Holy, an absolute headbanger. In true avant-garde fashion, the next song completely shifts gears and basically has no words. Absolutely no words. Besides some distant Death Haven-like screams slapping in and out of some soothing keys and melodic passages. Go figure. The next song, Golden Liar, has a grandeur movie-like soundtrack-ish southern vibe, with Manuel channeling his inner Lenny Kravitz, flexing his clean vocal pipes. Check this out. Different than the last clip I played for you, right? Well, there is plenty more of where that came from. Tracks like Erase, spewing death metal growls and frantic riffing akin to Dillinger's Escape Plan, to tracks like Bow, which has a dark country vibe, to Feed the Machine going straight into mayhem territory with their popularized flutter picking and evil as fuck sounding black metal shrieks. If you thought the surprises end there, you are wrong. Dad, wrong! I Caught You's rhythm section honestly makes me think of System of a Down turning into a groove-filled vibe like Lamb of God halfway through. Then you get hit with a track like Church Burns, where you first hear Manuel singing and falsetto in this album. This brings me to one of my personal favorite tracks on the album, and please excuse me if I butcher this song, Gotterdammerung, or whatever it is. I have no idea what he's saying, but unholy fuck, that sounds awesome. I seriously get some hypocrisy-like melodic extreme metal vibes from that song. Last track I want to talk about is Hold Your Head Low, which in my opinion, for obvious reasons that this band is based in Sweden, pays homage to the Swedish kings of black metal, the mighty Dark Funeral, with riffing and screams. I guess we're on to the bad parts of the album right now, but I'm hearing crickets here, guys. Seriously, drawing a blank. What is bad about this album? Okay, I guess I'll turn my Inspector Gadget goggles on. So if you like a rather traditional sounding album which is consistent throughout, you'll probably not like this album. Seriously, the only consistent thing about this album is that it is inconsistent. Also, if you aren't too fond of non-metal elements being sporadically sprinkled all over the place with your metal, then again, you will probably dislike this album. The only critique I could possibly make myself is that the opening self-titled song and the closing song AHIL aren't as strong as the rest of the songs in this album. They kind of feel more like an intro and outro, but that was probably done intentionally, and they were, in fact, an intro and an outro. Alright, now it is time for the verdict. The new Zeal and Ardor album, in my personal opinion, is possibly the most musically creative metal album that I have heard in a long time. The vocals also deserve high praise, as they are simply superb and extremely diverse. Also, with all the experimentation included, without going too haywire with structures, all the songs actually manage to stay under the 5-minute mark and offer no filler content. Nothing against long songs here, guys, but for this genre, none of the songs overstay their welcome, and after listening to the album over 10 times, absolutely nothing drags on. This is straight up top-notch, innovative as hell songwriting. I can't help it. I'm gonna do it, guys. I'm giving this self-titled Zeal and Ardor album a perfect score. My first 5 out of 5 here on Overkill Reviews. It is time for the shoutouts. First up, I got the newly formed Japanese visual kei supergroup Petit Brabancon with their first EP titled Koku Kawaki, which came out back in December 24th, 2021, independently. Yes, it's a bit of an older release, but Kyo is one of my top 5 vocalists, hands down, and his main band, Durn Grey, is also one of my absolute favorite bands. The band brings together 5 heavy hitters from the Japanese metal, punk, and alternative rock scenes, creating a bizarre yet fantastic mix of progressive new rock sound. Next up, I got the metalcore giants from Tampa, Florida. It's Underoath with their 9th full-length album, Voyeurist, which came out on January 14th via Fearless Records. Throughout the 10 tracks, the band almost brings back a more mature version of some of their earliest sounds, with vocalist Spencer flexing his pipes. This album also has a song featuring Ghostbane titled Cycle, which is phenomenal. Third up, I got the rising Indian metal band Bloodywood with their debut full-length album Rakshak, which is coming out on February 18th independently, combining elements of Indian folk music such as the flute and tabla with Western instruments, which are also portrayed in the vocal department. Bloodywood has been taking the world by storm, and you need to check this out. Last but not least are the pioneers of nu metal. It is Korn with their latest album, Requiem, which came out on February 4th via Loma Vista and Concord Records. This marks the 14th studio album by these guys, and it is an instant banger. Korn was the first ever concert I went to. I have seen them like 6 times so far, listened to every single one of their songs, and still to this day I get just as excited about a new release from them, and this album is no exception. This is actually one of the shortest, most concise Korn albums to date, with the 9 tracks all having the signature Korn vibe while pulling their own weight and while being memorable. Share your thoughts about the latest Zeal and Ardor album with me. Leave me a comment below and you'll see my ghost in a month. Till next time.